Alright, so before I begin, hopefully you guys read the Reddit thread, the 4 major phases, or some of this isn't really going to make sense, but I'll try to go over it very briefly again. But this example is going to be just showing what a prolonged phase 3 kind of looks like. It's a docile one, it's not an intense one, but it puts the point across. So I'll explain what's going through my mind and why I am moving the way I'm moving and playing the way I'm playing, right? And also give my opinions on what my team and what the enemy is doing. So again, the first phase is obviously when there's no sign of an enemy, there's no threat, and you guys are just kind of running around or just staying idle in maybe one place and not really doing anything. So mainly there's no threat of an enemy, right? So I'm just gonna fast forward that. I hope that's clear. So I think it's around here, right? So the moment someone pings, right, you're gonna assume there's an enemy. But in this case, he's scanned, so we know where 2 of the enemies are. So we're aware of the enemy, and also the enemy is aware of us. But there's no fighting going on, right? There's no battling going on. So right now, we're in the phase where we're in the second phase where we're just imposing a threat on each other. There's no real battle going on. But the imposition phase, which is phase 2, is still very important because it means that certain decisions have been eliminated, meaning we can't just go over here and loot as if there's no one around. Clearly, we will get shot at. We can't run out in open spaces where the enemy can fire back at us. So this goes without saying, right? But obviously someone who kind of disobeyed that and said, oh no, I'm still going to go down here for loot or something, they would just get fired upon. So it's not until we're exchanging bullets. So even me shooting at him, this isn't a battle, right? We're not fighting. And this is going to make sense when we get into the battle phase. So now, obviously my teammate is in battle with an enemy that's over here, right? So in the battle phase, this is what I suggest. It's all about your ability to deal damage to the enemy without receiving damage yourself. Right? That's what the battle phase is about. It's about gaining the health advantage, gaining some health advantage to allow yourselves to maybe secure the victory or just defend your position. Right? You don't want to enter the last phase, which is a death match. I'm going to start calling it a death match because that seems to make sense for everyone. So a death match is when you're in a position where you cannot leave without fighting. Someone has to die to get out of that position. But it can be broken, meaning you could be in a death match, but your enemies might still be in phase 3, which is just a battle phase, meaning they have a choice, right? And what I mean by that is, because this is the battle phase, for my team to go down here or for them to go down there, they would have to choose that. They would have to fight until they lose their health, because if they take damage, they can simply take cover and heal it, right? So to get downed from across this far sight in here would be a choice, not really like something out of your control. And that takes us back to the very first thing that I stress to everyone is having the ability to avoid unnecessary damage. So that's what this game is about. In other words, we're poking, right? If someone says, stop poking, that usually means stop peeking and taking little shots, something like that. So he's losing the battle, but he's not in a deathmatch, which is why he shouldn't die, right? So again, I'm just very carefully. The reason why I was dropping off is because I wasn't sure if any of the enemies were gonna look, and I don't want to take any damage. But now this guy's here, so I'm gonna try and take a shot at this guy, but I'm also gonna fall back. If I stay up here for too long, it's gonna draw too much attention. I don't know where the enemy is, and he's obviously gonna shoot back at me, and I don't want to take damage from him, right? So now my team is shooting, and before I take a look, I'm trying to see if they're shooting back or not. But of course I'm still going to take a look eventually, from an angle where I think is safe. So if you can, so some people when they play Apex, they're quite explosive. If you're able to deal a lot of damage without taking damage, that's better for everyone, right? If you're not confident that you can kind of outgun the enemy, then know that and try and be a bit more careful, a bit more cautious and calculated with how you peek, how you poke the enemy and deal your damage. But some people, they're very aggressive and they're like amazing players. They have very quick reflexes, so they can take a lot more chances. For example, had I hit a load of those shots, right, I could then peek again here and maybe take some more. But I'm not that good, right? But I still understand that I don't want to take any damage, right? So there, success. That's good damage. That's what you want. So it's not a lot of damage, but it's damage where I didn't trade. So if you don't trade, that's good damage in my opinion. So notice how none of us are pushing because we haven't established any significance to the fight to say, yes, this is a moment where we should push. We're still being quite careful. And so is the enemy. The enemy is not going to push, right? So the fourth phase is when you're locked into a fight, you cannot get out. The only way to get out is by killing the enemy. They're not going to put themselves in that situation right now because they're unsure if they'll win or not. But an inexperienced player might say, I'm going for the push because I'm a total beast, and you know, when they come, we will end up killing them because they pushed up too early, and we're obviously going to still be playing smart and put ourselves in positions where we can hide and avoid some damage. So no one is we're not making the push, and so is the enemy not making a push, because that would be a decision made irrespective of the phase we're actually in. So I encourage you, when you're playing your games, understand, do I have to fight here, or do I have to take damage here? Constantly know that you want to deal damage, but constantly know if it makes sense, right? So here I want to do damage to this guy, but I don't want him to shoot me, so I'm going to take my shots. If I miss, I'll still take cover, because if he takes his shots, I just want to avoid them, right? So I do my damage, and I do 45, which is good. So I didn't trade. That's actually decent damage, right? I could peek again, maybe if I had another weapon, I guess, because I used all my ammo. But if I had another weapon, I could peek again. But most likely, he's still looking here, and I would end up taking damage. So that's why I want to wait for just a little bit, and then I peek from the top, see if he's still there. Right? So he's cracked. Now we're going kind of for a soft push, right? So a hard push when we just sprint out, because we don't know where the two other enemies are. We're a little bit cautious, and obviously we've been scanned, so I'm assuming they're up here. right? So now I can't really see them, but obviously we've gained the advantage through pushing them back by dealing little pieces of damage. And that's kind of that's this example is both teams staying in within the battle phase for quite a long time, and understanding that it's just that it's not a death match yet, right? We when we are dealing our damage and we're getting the health advantage, we're slowly pushing up to try and see what downs we can get. But really pay attention to that into your games, and hopefully the next examples I show will show you or I can show you more examples of understanding the phases in different situations. All right, take care.